Hello everyone and welcome back to Dragalia Foundry, a fan channel where everything Dragalia Lost can be found. This video is going to be all about our upcoming collaboration event featuring Princess Connect Redive. Princess Connect Redive, if you're not familiar, is another Cygames franchise. It hasn't been localized and released in English yet, but it released the same year as Dragalia Lost over in Japan. Seems to be a pretty popular franchise, and it even has its own anime. So, going into this collaboration, I was not at all familiar with Princess Connect, but having just checked out some of the anime, I have a little bit more to say on it. And we also got a brand new trailer for this event today, so even though this isn't launching until November 30th and it'll last through about mid-December, I wanted to make this video to express my excitement over this event and talk about what we know so far. So in this video, we'll check out the trailer together, but first, let's take a look at the event announcement page. You can see the title of the event is a Voracious Visitor. This is going to be a raid event, and it's going to feature a shadow-attuned raid boss. More on that when we check out the trailer. The protagonist there with the orange hair is known as Pekarine. She also seems to be one of the main characters in the Princess Connect franchise and in the anime. And let's read through the blurb, as this was one of the first points of excitement for me that made me pretty hyped about this event. So the blurb says, while foraging for wild edibles around their forest campsite, Cleo and Mitsuba come across the perpetually peckish Pekarine, a young lady who is transported from her world to hunt down and defeat the fiendish Aether. But just what is Aether, and why was Pekarine of all people called to fight it? The three make for a mana fount in search of answers, and along the way, they learn as much about whipping up delectable dishes as they do about whipping pesky fiends. This event's theme song is Rainbow Riders by MAO. We hope you're looking forward to the Princess Connect Redive, a Voracious Visitor raid event. Now, the reason I'm excited about this right off the bat, I have to say I am pumped that Mitsuba is present here. I first speculated that Valerio might have a role to play in this event, and then after seeing a teaser trailer with Pipple, I thought that maybe Pipple would get an ult in this event. Instead, it looks like the other character from A Dash of Disaster, Mitsuba, is going to be present instead. And honestly, of the three, Mitsuba is my favorite. Y'all know I went way out of my way to try to summon her, and I made that video, like a 2-minute summoning video for her, kind of as a joke of how my thought process on summoning often went down, of just summoning a little and hoping things would work out, all of a sudden being way into the summoning and realizing that, things hadn't gone how you wanted, and then maybe a few hours later, deciding to go back in and spend some money to get that character you were really going for. Having said that, I really do like Mitsuba as a character, and I shared some of this on the Discord, but part of the reason for that is I also come from kind of a similar background to Mitsuba, where my dad is also involved in a restaurant. He is an immigrant to the US. He started off washing dishes, working in the kitchen, and eventually was able to own his own restaurant. And I think that I kind of relate to Mitsuba in that sense. I relate to her dream about wanting to live up to that legacy and make sure to make something out of one's life to kind of honor the sacrifice of her parent, or her father in that case. But yeah, Mitsuba's a character that just hits for me on a lot of different levels. Of course, when the event where she first appeared happened, I just thought she was really adorable as well, so that's one level. And I'm really glad that she is part of this event. I'm really excited about that. And if you're not a Mitsuba fan, you probably are a Cleo fan. I mean, how many people out there dislike both Cleo and Mitsuba? It can't be that many, and hopefully if you're in that category, maybe Pekarine appeals to you, or maybe you're just excited about the free rewards that will likely accompany this event. Now, as for Princess Connect, to give a little context on the franchise, since the plot of this sounds sort of similar to what I've seen so far, I've only watched about 5 episodes of the 13-episode anime. I haven't played the game since it's not localized here in the United States just yet, but from what I gather from the anime, it is a very relaxed, very chilled out kind of pace. It seems to be a situation where every character, other than the main character who really doesn't talk much, is a female character, so there's a little bit of a harem vibe, which I don't totally jive with. At the same time, it's also kind of wholesome. Like, there's really not a whole lot of funny business happening. It's kind of just the main party enjoying food, enjoying each other's company, having like minor side missions. It reminds me a lot of like Harvest Moon or Story of Seasons, just a very mellow RPG type environment where you're just feeding your characters and like raising your bonds with them, and maybe attacking or tackling some problems, bad guys, every now and then, but nothing really world-threatening. So far, that is the impression I get of it. So this setup for the event that's described here really fits in with my impression of the series. It just seems like a super chill series, really just about being in a guild that is dedicated to eating and like doing minor side quests for the most part. It's not the type of franchise that I would really gravitate toward, and honestly, there weren't enough twists and turns and just drama to make me really invested. I'm not sure that I'll finish watching the franchise, but having said that, I do think it would make for a good Dragalia Lost event, so I am hopeful about that, and it seems that in general, the nature of this event, with this only really being available in Japan right now, it's either targeting more the Japanese audience for Dragalia, or perhaps there may be some plans in 2021 to localize Princess Connect Redive and maybe start to bring that to more of a Western audience. In any case, that's enough backstory. Let's take a look at the trailer for this event, some of the music for it, some of the voice acting. Unfortunately, the full English voice acting is not available in the trailer, so what I have done is to play the trailer with the Japanese audio but the English text, and let's take a look. I'll start it up right now. Alright. So we have to defeat Ether. We have the power. And we've got work to do. Music is very wholesome, very jolly. Announcing the next raid event. Hey Yaz, I don't know how it happens, but I've ended up in a strange new world. Pecorine. And Forager Cleo. You want to eat a fiend. I like Cleo's attire there as well. And now Mitsuba. Talking about the potential of fiend meat as a cooking ingredient, and I think her Forager outfit is really nice. Love that with the three of them there. And all of a sudden, things take a turn for the morbid, for the dark. Here we go. Our villain. Yup. It kind of looks like Kronos. I mean, it's a reskin. Let's be real. But we also have Lumiere Pandora, our pink-haired dragon, perhaps? And our catchphrase, how crazy is that? Let's go save the world. Oh, this is the part. This part of the music is what I really like. The vocal track, the chorus. What do you mean I can't eat dragons? Oh, and then the 4 portraits of the different characters all lined up there on the left, I think looks really good. And that's the trailer. So I'm excited about this event. It seems very, very lighthearted. I don't expect any world-shattering stuff here. From what I've read on Reddit and Discord, it sounds like Aether in parts of Greek mythology has some connection to Kronos. So it being a direct reskin, there may be an intentionality behind that. Honestly, we have a lot of raid events that are reskins, but when it comes to collaboration, you do expect a little bit more. That being said, last year we got a surprise collaboration in November with Mega Man, and the boss fights, despite being sort of reskins of the dragons, just brainwashed the Great Worms, the boss fight mechanics were actually very distinct, so I still think there's a good possibility that the gameplay on this is going to be on point. Kronos also just being one of the better raid bosses, and now at this point, other than the Monster Hunter raid boss Fatalis, as well as the 2 New Year's raid bosses and also Morsayati more recently, I think pretty much every other raid boss has like an alter ego, slight variant reskin that we've fought against. So sometimes they are pretty differentiated, and that's what I'm hoping for here from a gameplay standpoint. But I just appreciate the outfits, the foraging. In the anime, what I saw so far was like they're eating bugs and stuff sometimes. Like it's it's interesting. So there's 4 characters. Yuki's kind of the main protagonist. He doesn't really talk at all. He's kind of just the stand-in for the audience, I suppose. There's Kokoro. I don't really know a lot about her backstory, but she's kind of quiet and mild-mannered and just wants everybody to get along well together. Pecorine, who is very oblivious, very bubbly and just not aware of anything going on, just basically eats all the time and wants to have a good time with her friends, but has a lot of power. Then we have another character called, the sub said that her name was Carol, but I think it's like Kiaru or something. But as for Carol, she is like cat-eared and kind of got the tsundere archetype going, has some kind of conflict with Pecorine, but decides that in order to find a way to dispatch her, eventually she's going to stick close to her and decides to join the guild for that reason. It's a very silly anime. I don't really know that I could make it through it. I don't really know about Pandora or Ether based on what I've seen so far as well. But all this to say, I'm here for it. I'm excited. I want to learn more. Mitsuba, I will spark. I will use all of my summoning currency to get Mitsuba. These characters aren't limited. It looks like Cleo is going to be our welfare character, but Mitsuba will probably be on the banner along with maybe Pandora as the dragon, and then of course Pecorine. I'm going in for Mitsuba. I went in the first time. I looked back and calculated I did 306 summons to get Mitsuba that first time, and I bought 4 monthly packs in order to do so. I went in back then with 22,000 Wormite and 2 tenfold vouchers and about 30 single vouchers. So it's not like I went in without much resources. I went in with a good amount of resources, a good chance to get her, and I still ended up having to buy 4 of the monthly packs to pull her back in, I guess it was March of this year, if you can believe that. And I'm gonna go for Mitsuba again. You know, as I said, there's that sort of personal connection when I think about my own family history and situation, and I think about Mitsuba, especially this year with everything going on with the pandemic and how it's been pretty tough for restaurants out there. I hope that one day we eventually get Mitsuba's sister Nazuna available as well. She's the more business-minded one. She has her own portrait. You could see her in Mitsuba's story, so apparently there are 7 siblings total, and that means a lot of potential for future characters and perhaps even future alts. But that is pretty much going to do it for this video, everyone. That about wraps up what we know on the Princess Connect event upcoming so far. I'm looking forward to it. It's definitely not my usual cup of tea, but I think I'm going to enjoy it nevertheless. And it looks like Pecorine will be a light sword. We'll have to see on Cleo. Looks like a wand, probably a light wand. And I suppose Mitsuba, with the Shadow Boss being present, will likely be light element as well. Seems like she has a frying pan. Maybe she'll use that as an axe. Who knows? In any case, y'all, that is going to do it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you as always for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.